Hi, everyone. Thanks again for joining me today. I am the worst daughter of all. And today I wanted to talk about flying monkeys that are more like minor abusers themselves. So you'll have a couple different types of flying monkeys, and usually what you'll find is well-meaning flying monkeys. The types that are like, oh, well, if you just spoke to them, you could work things out. And, I want everyone to get along and everything to go well. And then, on the other hand, you have those minor narcissists, minor abusers who like to see you struggle and like to help the narcissist out for whatever reason, whether that's to get brownie points with them or to get their own little bit of supply off of you as well. So in my personal life, I have dealt with a lot of minor abusers. I grew up in a small town where my abuser, my narcissistic father, he's a communal narcissist. And so what that means in a nutshell is he likes to pretend that he's this pillar of the community, that, he does so much for the community. He's the best guy, all around guy. He's a local business owner. So he's always trying to put out there, that he's helping the local economy. Everyone that meets him, he puts this charming smile on for them. He makes them his best friend. So pretty much everyone that he comes across, he can manipulate them to get on his side somehow. And the few people that don't mess with him, that don't like him, he's always condemning them, saying that they're awful people, that there's something wrong with them. But in reality, I think it's just that they understand what a mess he is. And they're not fooled by, all that garbled mess that he tries to put out of what a great person he is. So sometimes you'll see communal narcissists in religious aspects, like they can be a reverend or a priest or something, where they're looked at as this authority head that everyone comes to them. They're the moral compass. They are a leader of some kind. So, for instance, my narcissistic father, he loves to teach, even though he doesn't have a teaching degree. He never did a day of college. He is an artist, a commercial artist. And so the local university there where I'm from, he knows people there. He's manipulated them to think he's a certain way. So they've invited him to do some art classes and things like that now and then. And I think that it's perfect for him. It feeds his ego so that he can feel like he's this important person when in reality, he feels like very, very insecure and like he's nothing. That's the reason why he's a narcissist. So hopefully that kind of explains it. But so my communal narcissistic father, throughout my life, I have had different teachers or parents, co-workers, or just buddies that are working around the town or in my schools when I was growing up. To a lot of these flying monkeys or minor abusers, they like to take on this role that he asks them to do, which is, oh, keep an eye on my daughter. Just please keep an eye on her. She just needs help. Just make sure she's doing okay. And if she does anything, report it to me. To the outside world, that might look like that's totally reasonable. It's just a concerned father who wants to make sure that their daughter's doing okay. So it's not okay. You should never, ever have your child watched or followed anyone watched or followed, and then reported on back to. It's just not healthy. And so I think that a healthy person who was not coerced or had nothing to gain personally from doing this behavior to a child, to a teenager, even like as I got older and then into my 20s when I was still living there temporarily, this would not be appropriate for a lot of people. They would not do this. But to these minor narcissists that he tries to kind of surround himself with, to these minor abusers that really just want to garner favor, with him, that see him as this important person, this person that they need to have, give them this validation. And then that they, get to have this supply from, ooh, yeah, see, I got her. And I'm telling on her. She thinks she can do blah, 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 blah. Well, that's perfect for them. So the thing is teenagers and kids, they're going to make mistakes because that's what you do, as you're growing up. But someone who's a scapegoat like I was, when you indoctrinate so many people to your agenda of making this person a scapegoat, making them into the villain of everything, telling these people, these adults, that this child or this teenager or this young adult, they're up to no good. They have to be watched. They might do this, they might do that. That is terrifyingly, ridiculous. And the thing is obviously we know that this is not normal. I think a lot of survivors, they would understand as they're coming out of this fog of abuse that, whoa, this was messed up. But in the time period that it's happening, at the time, you just feel like, well, this is completely normal. This is how it works. Again, it's normalizing everything, all this bad behavior. And hopefully as we heal and we come through everything, we kind of learn, no, this is not appropriate. This is not okay. As I mentioned in another video about going no contact with my entire family, I blocked everyone, changed my phone number. No one knows where I live in my family anymore. Unfortunately, I forgot that I gave one of them my email address. And so a couple of days ago, I got an email from my minor narcissistic and borderline grandparents. This is malignant borderline grandmother and codependent minor narcissistic grandfather. And this is my mother, the codependent enabler to the narcissist of my father. This is her parents. And what they would do, and why they're one of the first ones I went no contact with after my parents, because they would visit me. They would take pictures of my home and send that to my parents that I was not involved with, and they knew that, and I would ask them not to, and they would just use all of the words that I would say to them against me. They would show them all of my life at the time. They would tell them my address. So I was not safe. I was not in a good place. So I asked them repeatedly, please don't do this. I will not have a relationship with you if you continue to do this. They continued to do it. So I forgot that they had my email address. So I got an email the other day just saying, oh, we miss birthdays and we miss Christmas. Please, why aren't you talking to us? And all of this, it's so sad and we just want to help you. And I don't need help. There's nothing wrong, other than having abusive, people around me in the past that have done terrible things. So I don't need help. I hate this whole, oh, you're such a victim and you don't know the way and all of this and that. I don't play with that, and I don't agree with that. So, I just feel like there is a time when you just say no. I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that, I'm not going to take it. And so what I did was I deleted that email. I blocked, I can't block an email address, but I made it so that every single thing that comes from them will go, or that email address will go to my spam and junk folder, because I don't need that in my life. And I've been feeling so much better now that I've had everyone blocked for a couple months now. Like, it's amazing the weight that lifts off your shoulders when you are done. A way to kind of understand if you're dealing with someone who is a minor abuser or a narcissist, you usually aren't close to these people necessarily. You might be, but usually in my experience, you aren't. A lot of the times what will happen is that if you tell them no, or if you tell them to stop, it won't register with them. They'll be like a deer in the headlights, because they're used to being able to tell you something and get a rise out of you. But if you're just like, well, go gray rock, or tell them no from whatever they're requesting, they'll just kind of give you this blank stare, and they'll be like, kind of like the cogs are going in their brain, and they're kind of like, oh, well, why aren't they reacting the way they always did, And that's a way to kind of like shut them down, I think. There's lots of different ways, but, people who are just acting really unhealthily, and people who might ask you to divulge a lot of information that is not really something that they need to know. Some like personal information and things like that, or about where you're going to be. Probing questions that, why would they need to know, that kind of stuff, because they want to report back to that main narcissist. So you may also realize that, well, my narcissist isn't really hoovering me, which means they're not really like trying to get back with me after they've discarded me. But you may actually have a minor narcissists or minor abusers doing this for them, doing their bidding for them in this way. So that's all I'm going to talk about on that subject. Thank you so much for listening today. And hopefully I'll be back with another video. Thank you. Bye.